You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 158.1, our daily report on all things Central Indiana sports. Today featuring a full slate of high school boys basketball.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report, I think you picked a really good day. Today is January 25th, 2025. It's a Saturday. So it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana sports. Coming to you today from Stage 22 in Elwood. Producer Susie is in the control room and headquarters in Jeffersonville. And as soon as I'm done with this episode, I'm scootering to my baby. Tonight's daily report features mostly high school boys basketball. We also had a little bit of girls basketball. Purdue basketball played Michigan in a top 25 matchup. IU's women are out west in Oregon. And we take a quick look at a very busy Saturday in Central Indiana. Before we get to a lot of basketball, Northwestern hired Shane Turnipseed as its new football head coach. He replaces Caleb Small, who left for Kokomo after one very successful year at Northwestern. In the Central Indiana Sports Report game of the night, Blackford beat Frankton 61-56 to improve to 5-0 in the CIC. I was at the game and spoke with Blackford head coach Aaron Daniels and senior Gage Baker and junior Mason Kitterman, and also Frankton head coach Brent Brobston. We will have all that on Saturday's boys basketball report. In fact, we'll have a report on all of the following games. Oak Hill got by Alexandria 59-38. The Golden Eagles are 4-0 in the CIC. They're 10-3 overall. This was their fifth straight win and their eighth in their last 9 games. Jace Tonigal had 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. The Action Sports Network's Grant Schaus was there, and we'll have details on Saturday's basketball report. Mississinawa is back over 500 after beating Elwood 55-39 for their 5th win in their last 7 games. Ravion Fetz and Keontae Wood scored 14 points apiece for the 7-6 Indians. Elwood's Cam Gallegos scored a game-high 19 points. Madison Grant got a big CIC win, 45-41 over visiting Eastbrook. Luke Gilman had 13 points and 10 rebounds to lead the Argyles. Xavier Yegi added 10 points in the winning effort. I also spoke with Mississinawa head coach Josh Brooks and Madison Grant head coach Josh Hendrickson about their wins for Saturday's Central Indiana Sports Report. Northeastern is no longer unbeaten after visiting LaPel on Friday. The Bulldogs improved to 8-5 with a 66-58 win over the 2A number 8 Knights. Devin Craig led LaPel with 24 points. Kevin Cherry also joined me on Friday night, and I'll have that for you on later Saturday. Maconaquah hit the game-tying shot in the final seconds of regulation and a game-tying shot in the first overtime, and then beat Western in the second overtime. The final score 72-68 in what was probably the best game of the night. Josiah Balhu hit a 28-footer at the end of the first overtime with a couple of Panthers in his face, led all scorers with 26 points. A.J. Kelly had 18 and Fuddy Kyle 16 for the Braves. Carter Biggs and Hudson Biggs combined for 39 points for Western. I spoke with Western head coach Gamp Bennington about the Panthers' performance again later Saturday. Also in the Hoosier Conference, West Lafayette improved to 12-3 with a 73-39 win over Frankfort, and Logansport beat Twin Lakes 55-49. Both Tipton and Hamilton Heights were off Friday, and both play Saturday. In probably less than an hour, I will have a Tipton Kokomo preview and a Hamilton Heights Mechanical preview for you with Tipton head coach Cliff Hawkins and Hamilton Heights head coach Chad Bellinger. Lafayette Jeff handed Marion its sixth consecutive loss, 78-49, in an NCC contest Friday. Tim Jones led the Giants with 14 points. The Action Sports Network's Kevin Helfrich called the game, and then he called us with a report. Again, Saturday. I think I'm going to have to break that thing into parts. Kokomo is 1-1 in the NCC after a 65-51 win at Muncie Central. 5 Wildcats were in double figures, led by freshman DJ Nash's 15 points. He also had 8 rebounds. Shamar Taylor and Carlos Eccles scored 12 points apiece for Central. Delta got by Pendleton Heights in a low-scoring game, 44-40 Friday. It's the 10th win of the year for the Eagles, who led 23-12 at the half. Bronson Edwards led Delta with 13 points. Pendleton's Ashan Singh had a game-best 14. Newcastle beat Yorktown 51-40. Yorktown scored just 2 points in the first quarter and 11 in the first half. 3A number 6 New Pal got a big win, 62-60 over a 10-win Roncalli team. Julius Jeezy scored 28 points in the win. He's one of the best in the state. Roncalli's Connor Kessler had a 3-point attempt at the buzzer that went off the front of the rim. Class A number 12 Liberty Christian ran past Winchester 71-40. The Lions have won 5 of their last 6. Class A number 9 Carroll held on to beat Tri-Central 47-45 in a Hoosier Heartland contest. Eli Falkenberg had a big night with 23 points for the Cougars. Tri-Central had 7 different players score at least 4 points, led by 12 points from Izzy Fowler. We'll be joined by Tri-Central's Cam Heinman on Saturday. Definitely going to have to break this thing into 2 parts. 2A number 11 Taylor is 13-1 after an overtime win over Indianapolis Riverside 47-45. Riverside had won 10 straight coming into the game. Dre McClatchy had 19 points and Javon Harris 16 for the Titans. Class A number 10 Clinton Prairie is 9-2 after beating Eastern 91-49. Alex Farley set a program record with 12 three-pointers, 12 for 14, and finished the game with 40 points. He was 14 for 18 from the field. Rossville won its 10th game of the season, 64-44 over Clinton Central. Class 2A number 1 Wapahani more than doubled up Randolph Southern. Not a bad Randolph Southern team either. 75-36 to improve to 14-0 and 3-0 in the MEC. Shenandoah stayed in the Mid-Eastern race with a 71-49 win over Westdale. Cowan got its first win of the year, 64-51 over winless Burris. Eastern Hancock beat Monroe Central 74-54. Surprising that Eastern Hancock won. Shocking that they beat them by 20. Northwestern eked out a win over Wabash 51-49 in overtime. The Tigers are now 8-5 on the year, 5-1 in the Three Rivers Conference. Braden Wilson led Northwestern with 16 points. Class 2A number 7 Manchester had little trouble beating Rochester 70-45. Gavin Benton scored 27 points for the 12-1 Squires. Also in the Three Rivers, Whitco beat Northfield 59-40. Southwood beat Cass 50-45, and Peru got past Lafayette Central Catholic 75-43. A little outside of our area, number 1 Fishers is 17-0 and has won 28 straight games after beating 4A number 10 Avon 69-45. Number 4 Westfield had no trouble with Brownsburg 57-31. The Shamrocks are 11-1. Noblesville improved to 11-4 with a 51-44 win at Franklin Central. Zionsville beat Hamilton Southeastern 46-44. Bryson Cardinal had 21 points and 11 rebounds, and Class 3A number 2 Garin Catholic beat Rebuff 52-39. Number 8 Lawrence North knocked off North Central 88-70, and Lawrence Central beat Warren Central 59-54. Pike got by Carmel 48-41. Some girls basketball. The Hoosier Conference playoffs were Friday night, and Rensselaer Central is the Hoosier Conference champion after a 76-18 win over Western. Central Catholic finished third by beating Hamilton Heights 60-14. Benton Central beat Logansport 69-24 for fifth place. West Lafayette beat Tipton 46-22 on Thursday in the seventh place game. Frankton won its 10th game of the year 51-17 over Blackford. Yorktown won for the sixth time in its last 7 games 46-25 over Newcastle. Lafayette Jeff is 4-0 in the NCC after beating Marion 50-26. The Broncos can clinch the NCC at Richmond on Saturday at 2:30. By the way, Kevin Helfrich's report on the Marion boys also includes some Marion Lafayette Jeff girls. That will be in Saturday's boys basketball report. Kokomo is 14-6 after a 67-49 win over Richmond. The Wildcats Balance beat Richmond's Amy Yana Tucker's 31-point individual performance. Satira Scott's 18 led Kokomo. A.V. Pollard had 13, Michaela Drake 11 in the win. Clinton Prairie improved to 10-10 with a 54-19 win over Eastern. Kinsey Eagle led the Comets with 11 points. And Taylor won its 5th game of the year, 44-35 over Kokomo Homeschool. The Titans had won just 1 game over the last 2 years coming into this season. On Sunday night is the IHSA girls basketball sectional draw. I will have all the brackets for you on Monday's Central Indiana Sports Daily Report. And we'll talk with all the coaches about the draw and the sectionals and all that all over the next couple of weeks. We hope to talk to some coaches about the draw sometime Monday afternoon. Get that to you pretty soon. In college basketball, 11th ranked Purdue rebounded from Tuesday's surprising loss to Ohio State with a 91-64 win over 21st ranked Michigan. Purdue shot 55% and led 51-25 at the half. Braden Smith had 24 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, and 4 steals. Purdue might have a National Player of the Year for the second year in a row. Trey Kaufman-Wren, Fletcher Lawyer, and C.J. Cox were all in double figures for the Boilermakers. Purdue is now alone in second place in the Big Ten, behind only unbeaten Michigan State. The Boilermakers have a week off before hosting IU next Friday at 8. Speaking of IU, the Hoosiers got a commitment from 6'7" Bosnian sharpshooter Harun Zerno on Friday. He chose IU over Wisconsin, Creighton, and Virginia. The IU women lost 54-47 at Oregon. The Hoosiers led through 3 quarters, but were outscored 20-11 in the fourth. Caroline Striplin had 14 points to lead the Hoosiers. They are now 12-7 overall, 4-4 in the Big Ten. Taylor baseball beat Benue Mesa 11-1 in Arizona. The Trojans had 4 triples, and Gable Pentecost allowed just 1 earned run in the win. Sam Glad had a double and a triple and 4 RBIs for Taylor. Looking ahead to Saturday's highlights in Central Indiana. In girls basketball, there's a big one. 2A number 2 Alexandria is 20-1. They go to 2A number 15 Oak Hill. Oak Hill is 19-1 for the CIC championship at 7:30 on Saturday. Michelle Garman and I spoke with Alexandria head coach Mickey Hosier about the game. We will, of course, have that for you later on Saturday. Also in the CIC, Madison Grant goes to Eastbrook, and Elwood is at Mississinawa. All of those games tip at 7:30. We have an actual afternoon boys basketball game on Saturday, and it's a good one. 9 and 6 Western goes to 7 and 6 Mississinawa. They play at 1:30. Grant Schaus and Kevin Helfrich will be calling that game on Saturday afternoon, and we'll hope to talk to them about that one coming up. In the Central Indiana Sports Report game of the night for Saturday, 11-4 Kokomo is at 10-2 Tipton. The Blue Devils have won 8 games in a row. 9-3 Monroe Central is at 9-5 Blackford. Hamilton Heights goes to Mechaniqua. Heights is 8-5 and won 4 games in a row. Mechaniqua is 9-2 and just beat Kokomo and Western. Number 1 Wapahani goes to Newcastle. Wapahani's 14-0. Newcastle 5-14. And Tri Central is 6-8. We'll try to end a losing streak against North Miami, which is 6-6 at home. That game and all of those games, except for the Western Mississinawa game, are at 7:30 on Saturday. In boys wrestling, the Hoosier Heritage Conference meet will be at Clinton Central at 9 a.m. The Three Rivers Conference is at Mechaniqua at 9 a.m. The MEC Wrestling meet is at Cowan at 9. And the Marion Duels, which includes Blackford and Muncie Central, of course, the Giants as well. That is at 9 a.m. too. In swimming, the Hamilton Heights will swim in the Logansport Invitational at 10 a.m. And in gymnastics, Northwestern and Western will be at the Harrison Invitational. Also, Saturday, the Pacers play the Spurs. That game is at noon in Paris. The Pacers will try to rebound from an ugly loss against the Spurs on Thursday. The game can be seen on ESPN. Ball State's men are at Northern Illinois at 4:30. That game's on ESPN Plus. Ball State's women are at Northern Illinois at 2. That game is also on ESPN Plus. Anderson goes to Mount St. Joseph's for a men's and women's doubleheader. Men at 2, women at 4. St. Francis goes to Taylor for a men's game at 3. Huntington is at Indiana Wesleyan in a men's doubleheader, 1 and 3. And IUK is at West Virginia Tech, the men at 1, the women at 3. The Indiana Mad Ants are in Birmingham at 7, and the Indy Fuel are at Kalamazoo, also at 7. And now you know everything we know about Central Indiana sports. And I got a long drive ahead of me and still a lot to do. So you'll be hearing a lot from me in the next couple of days. Thanks for listening. Always appreciate it. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.